What happens if everyone sneezes at the same time? This question has haunted absolutely no one until now. But once you hear it, you kind of need to know. What would happen if all 8 billion people on Earth sneezed at the exact same moment? Let's start with the basics. A human sneeze can travel at speeds of up to 160 kilometers per hour. That's 100 many points if you're still resisting the metric system. The average sneeze ejects around 40,000 droplets and produces a burst of sound somewhere, around 90 decibels, about as loud as a lawnmower. Multiply that by 8 billion, and you're looking at, well, a lot. If every single person on Earth stood in one spot and sneezed at the same moment, the immediate result would be deafening. Literally. Scientists estimate that 8 billion sneezes at once would produce sound levels over 180 decibels, enough to rupture eardrums, shake glass, and possibly trigger minor landslides. Congratulations, you just weaponized hay fever. But of course, people aren't neatly lined up in a giant field for synchronized sneezing yet. They're spread out all over the globe. In houses, on mountaintops, in planes, underwater, in submarines, and, unfortunately, in space stations. Yes, astronauts sneeze too, and in zero gravity it's complicated. Now let's imagine what would happen globally, assuming everyone sneezes at once, wherever they are. For a glorious fraction of a second, every human would enter sneeze mode. Eyes closed, head snapping forward, mouths launching a super mist of microscopic chaos. First, transportation. Airplane turbulence might spike as dozens of pilots suddenly sneeze mid-landing. Self-driving cars would likely be fine. Human-driven ones? Less so. Traffic accidents would skyrocket, all caused by one sneezy second of chaos. On roller coasters, the results would be cinematic. Trains might overshoot stations. Someone's definitely sneezing into their coffee and ruining their entire morning. Second, communication. News anchors, pop singers, politicians, lovers, all suddenly pausing to sneeze into microphones, faces, or the void. Every podcast, interrupted, every voicemail, suspiciously nasal, every Zoom meeting, momentarily unified in shared awkwardness. Now, let's talk physics. Could this synchronized sneeze shift the Earth? Probably not. But let's entertain the thought. The average sneeze produces around 0.03 newtons of force. Multiply that by 8 billion, and you get roughly 240 million newtons. That sounds big, but for scale, the thrust of a single SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket is about 7.6 million newtons. So all of humanity sneezing together would be about the same as 31 Falcon 9s firing at once. Impressive, but nowhere near enough to move the Earth even a fraction of a millimeter. So, no, we wouldn't knock ourselves off orbit. Good try, though, but there's a more serious concern: global sneeze shockwaves. In crowded cities, the combined gust of air might cause windows to flex, leaves to scatter in aggressive synchrony, and possibly trigger chain reactions of barking dogs, startled cats, and screaming babies. Indoor air quality would take a hit. Millions of simultaneous sneezes recycling particles in closed rooms. Offices would smell faintly of mint, dust, and regret. Let's not forget the animals. Dogs might interpret the massive sound wave as the start of the apocalypse. Birds might take flight in confusion. Whales, unbothered, probably, sneeze-proof. But let's say it's not random. Let's say we planned this. An international synchronized sneeze day. What would that even take? First, you'd need to coordinate a global sneeze trigger. Maybe a pollen bomb dropped from the stratosphere, or an emotional video played worldwide that somehow universally causes sneezing, looking at you, old book dust. Then you'd need to synchronize time zones. Of course, someone would sneeze early, someone would forget, and someone would fake it. But even if 95% of people participated, that's still billions of sneeze blasts in one synchronized sonic boom. And what would happen after? Probably the biggest collective bless you in recorded history. Churches, temples, and awkward office kitchens all mumbling at once. A spiritual sneeze moment. Medical professionals would be overwhelmed, not from injuries, but from questions. Like, is sneezing contagious in reverse? And can we do this again next year? Social media would explode. Sneeze Day would trend. TikToks of failed sneezes, YouTube compilations of cats freaking out, think pieces on the psychology of simultaneous sneezing, and conspiracy theories. So many conspiracy theories. Why did the government really make us sneeze? Now, here's the twist. What if this already happened? Maybe once, long ago, during a massive planetary pollen storm, all of humanity sneezed in sync and forgot. Maybe it's a built-in evolutionary reset. Or maybe we're due. Either way, next time you sneeze, listen closely. Somewhere, someone else just might be sneezing too. And maybe, just maybe, we're building up to something bigger. Just remember to cover your mouth. For science.